Hi and welcome to the channel, and this week it's part 2 of this journey of a portrait where we paint the hair, the forehead, the eyebrows and the glasses as well. It really is a pleasure having your company. Hi, I'm Michael, portrait artist from Perth, Western Australia, and I love sharing those demos with you. One thing I'm going to do this week is show you a really simple trick that'll transform your portraits and make painting them so much easier. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Hey, if you enjoy this channel and I'd love to have your support, please subscribe, hit that like button, give me the thumbs up, all that good stuff. Write some comments down below. I love reading those as well. That'd be really appreciated. And this week what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to start off by showing you my palette and how I set up my palette as a color wheel and how I actually mix some little colors up, just to show you the versatility and the advantage of having a very limited palette. Limited palettes are just great. The other colors you can add later are what I call convenience colors. Just makes it a little bit quicker to getting to where you want to get to, but you don't need them. You can start off really simply. So that's this week, and yeah, well, Michael, without further ado, let's paint.
Well, here's a bit of a layer of my palette: ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, the burnt umber, and that is cad yellow, and I just got some white on the side, the titanium white. This is all I actually use, so I can just put a bit of burnt umber, and then I add the blue. I actually add a little bit too much blue in this, but that's how I make my black. Use 60% blue and the 40% burnt umber. If I add more blue, I get more bluey black, which is great for the shadows, or I can turn more burnt umber in there and turn it into more browny black. So really easy just to make a black. And the great thing about that black, because it's using my colors off my palette, it creates real harmony when I'm actually mixing colors later on, and I can actually use it into darkened colors, knowing that I've got that blue and that black. Very simply, just take a little bit of the blue, put a bit of red with it, and you can get your purple. And this is just basically a really simple color wheel. I'll just pop a little bit of white into that. I think you can just see the red in there. Now I clean my palette off all the time. Tiny little bit of that titanium white, just so you can see that purple color coming through. Now, if you want a more mauve, mauve or mauve, wherever you are in the world, just add a little bit more blue, just tiny little bit there. And you can see it shifts. So you can get lots of shifts and lots of colors, variations with a really simple palette. Even put more blue in there if you want. I just find this simple palette creates real great harmony because you're not using too many colors, and no matter what you're doing, it's always the same colors. So you get a great palette, and you can mix any color you want with this palette. You really can, especially if you're using earth tones. Now I know there's going to be some strong stuff come out, like, you know, the vibrant yellows and the vibrant traffic cone stuff. I suppose stuff like that you can't mix. But really simply, you just want to get a green. Now, with painting dresses, or you're painting leaves and trees and shrubbery, you just take a little bit of yellow. I've got a cad yellow on the board at the moment with the ultramarine blue. Put a little bit more yellow to light it up. Now that's too saturated, way too saturated for any kind of foliage. I would never use it this straight. But just shows you what kind of a vibrant green you can actually get. But quite easy. I'll just take some, just pop it in the middle there. We'll take a little bit of red, tiny little bit of red, and we can add that in, and already you can see straight away it desaturates it, a really nice green. And just by mixing your colors on top of that, you can then change all the variations of different shades, and you could play around. You could just go mad on that and have, 5, 6, 10, 15 different greens. Secret to doing the greens is to do them that way. You want to get an orange going, it's simply just and this is what I'm using for my skin tones. I start off with the cad yellow and the red. That's a alizarin crimson. I was using alizarin crimson or Pyro Ruben, which is just another red. And you can see straight away I've got a nice orange there. Now that's probably a little bit too strong for skin tones, so we'll just put a little bit of burnt umber in it now. And that is how I start my skin tones off. So people are just wondering what I'm actually mixing for skin tones, and I'm actually just doing that, and I can just put some whites in there and mix them all up. So it just shows you've got great control with this little palette. Very, very simple. I know that if it's too red, I just put some more green. If it's too green, I put some more red. If it's too blue, I put some more brown. If it's too yellow, you hear me talk about this all the time, I'll just put some purple in there, or mauve, whatever you want to call it, mauve or mauve, depending on where the planet you are. And you can just go to town. It is a very, very simple palette, really easy to use. So here we go. I'll use that very simple palette now. I've said all that. And this is a great little experiment. All I've done is start off with the darkest dark, added some light in there as I'm coming up, and I'll just show you what you can actually do with this palette. So I don't do this all the time, and I should actually. It's great fun. It's great practice. Seeing how many variations of values or shades of light and dark you can actually get. I'm doing this for the hair, by the way. We're about to start the hair in a moment, but I thought you might be interested in just having a bit of a play. And what it does, it actually teaches you to see the different values in somebody's, in this is hair in this case, or forehead, whatever. And I'm just having a bit of a play. It's a bit of a while since I've done this much. And there's normally about 10 values, I think, if you look at a normal value scale. There's far more. And look, this isn't even all the values that will be in that hair either. And I'm not trying to paint any detail. I'm not going to paint hairs as hairs. I'm just going to use these value shifts to create the illusion that there's hair there. And there you go. Look at that. There's quite a few different value shifts. Nowhere near white, by the way. And you can really see it now. That, the highlights are definitely not white. They're a long way off. So here we go. Let's start painting. Let's start with our darkest darks. And again, I'm just using, you hold the brush however you like. I use it this way quite often. You get used to me because I like to twist, and I'm just dabbing it in here and turn it. And all I want to do is get the movement of the hair. I'm not actually going to paint any hair. I'm not going to get one of those really fine line brushes out and start putting the hairs in. You can see I just dip onto the palette. A few people have said, can we see the palette? Well, of course you can. Yep, not a problem. I've set a second camera up and we'll do that. So the first thing is to block in all these dark areas. Very, very important, working from dark to light. I say that because it's just so much easier to lighten something. At the end of this, I'm going to give you a really, really great tip for actually making things too dark. I'm deliberately going to do it on the forehead and just show you how easy it is to correct it. It's actually better being too dark than too light in oil painting, because of the simplicity of just lightening it up. And you're going to see at the end of this that magic little trick. So when I'm painting somebody, especially when we get to the forehead, I will start off darker rather than lighter, because I know what I can do with it, and it just gives me so much scope and so much more flexibility. But here we are. We're just going to work around this hair. For me, the hair, I don't want to paint hair, as I said. It's got to speak as to the character of the person. And it's the same with the background. The background should speak to the character of the person. So here the hair is going to have to speak to the character of the person and not just look like, you've just tried to do a photorealistic painting. If you're into photorealism, hey, go knock yourselves out. I know a few people that love their stuff. It's not the way I paint. And you can see I'm now a bit easier, and now just shift the angle of the brush, and I'm just kind of moving that brush into the direction that the hair goes. I think this is what starts to give you the realism. People talk about their brush marks and how they handle brushes. This is just mine. You can see I'm just holding. I've got a damaged finger, by the way, in this hand. My hand's actually damaged. It's got quite a bad nerve damage there. So if I can paint, anyone can paint. I've often said that it's not natural talent. Some people do have natural talent, but I believe anyone can paint. I think the only talent you've got to have, or patience, is the patience to sit at the easel and just work away. That's all it is. If you like your own company, if you like just concentrating on something for a period of time, And painting can be quite tiring. So one thing I would say to people that if you're doing something like this, you might just say, when you're starting off, I might just put all the blacks in. I might just put all the dark. They're not actually black, by the way. They're a little bit off black. But I might just put my darks in first, and then I'll take a break. I'll have a coffee, have an orange juice, have a bit of a break somewhere else, and come back to it. Build your stamina up, because a lot of people will start to rush things. So if you start to feel like you're rushing and start, I just need to put stop, just go away, just have a break. Hey, I do it myself all the time. I'll be into something and I'm painting, I'm getting a bit stuck on a certain area. I painted for a long time, but still you can get into overwhelm. Your eyes just start defocusing, you stop seeing the different shades. Just take a break. It's nothing wrong. Great thing about the oils, and I've got a linseed oil in these, so they're quite slow drying, and they're not going to dry in 5 minutes, not like a watercolor or an acrylic. So you can go away and leave them and just come back to it. So all my stuff is alla prima. I like wet in wet. You can see even with all that color range that I had, I'm still mixing other colors. I love to play with my palette, just see what I can do and push it around a little bit more. I'll just grab a drink, guys. So this is really important. So that is a tip, and it's kind of a pro tip. Professionals will know when they're getting a little bit tired. When something's causing a block, you'll be looking at something going, that is not working. Walk away from it and come back, 5, 10, 15 minutes next day if you want. No harm in that whatsoever. And you see, all I've just done is just worked my way through that value scale that I put onto the palette. And I think that really does help. If you can put that value scale down on the palette before you begin, you're kind of looking going, I haven't used that one. Where does that one go? And then you can just work yourself up. Now, as you go, you might have to change the color slightly. I've just done the gradients there, and you might have to put a bit more brown in there. And this hair has got a lot of brown in it. Now, it's kind of a silvery hair. It's black hair with silver. So someone said, why are there browns in this hair? Why are you doing that? It's because of all the brown and the goldy colors in the background. Even the brown and the green kind of go together. So by adding the brown touches into this hair, honestly, people, when they look at this finished portrait, may not actually realize there's browns in there. What they will see will be black and silver hair. It's amazing how people's eyes fix things. They look at something and say, it should be this way. So that's what they see. So don't be too hard on yourself. And you can see here, I'm just following that movement, popping those different values in there. One thing that is going to strike you is it is going to look wrong as you do it. I'm going to say this all the time. It's probably one of the big things. You're looking at this and going, this is a mess. It's just not working. That's why I like people to learn on still lifes. When I'm teaching portrait painting, I'll teach people portraits alongside, so they really loosen up their brushwork. They really get the confidence that it doesn't matter. I just put this in, and I know it's not going to look good until I start getting those final brush strokes in. It's going to look blocky. It's going to look chunky. It's not going to be working. The other thing I'm going to say is until the forehead goes in, the hair is still not going to work for you. It's still going to look like, I don't know, because it's just stuck on something, right? It's like getting a wig and just putting it on top of one of those mannequin heads. It kind of looks odd, but as soon as it gets a face around it, and stuff like that, it starts to make sense. So just be aware that as you paint this, it is not going to look right. It is not going to look good. And you can't touch it until the forehead goes in. Or I don't touch it until the whole face goes in. And that's if I bother touching it at all. I think just experience gets you to the point that you go, no, I put my colors, I've got everything happening in there. And it's great. You'll notice where the hair's going into that picture in the background, because the picture's still wet. Because I work alla prima, so the picture's wet. So I'm getting a bit of a blend, and it means that once I finish this, I'm not worried about the edge of my hair anymore, because I know I can come back and cut that picture back in and lose that bit of a shape there. But here it's just moving. You'll see I hold my brush in several different ways. Don't anyone tell you you've got to hold a brush a certain way. You know, I hear that. Hold it at the end of the handle. You paid for the whole handle. Hold it right on the very end. Hey, if that works for you, great. You know, someone would say, well, Michael, I've got that bouncing on my third finger. And that's because my middle finger is actually damaged. It's cut off. So it's not even there. That's just purely forefinger and thumb holding that, and I'm actually rolling my forefinger and thumb as I'm doing it, so my brush is moving around as I do this texture. And texture is probably going to be, as well as values, your texture you're going to put in here is what's going to make this thing work for you. And I've just worked around. Now, as you can see, it looks blocky, it looks messy, it looks dirty. But you see where I am on the palette. I'm nowhere near to my highlight yet. So it's not going to work yet. Excuse me while I just grab myself a drink. Chatterbox here. Now the hair falls down the side. And you see now I've changed the brush strokes just to imitate the hair falling down the side there. We're getting pretty close to getting this hair done, you know. It's not turning out too bad at all. Now I'm just putting in some more highlights, just get the lights in there. I use my hand just to balance. It's not actually touching the canvas, by the way. It's just bracing one. I have to do that because that hand, my right hand, actually has got a bit of a tremble in it, being damaged. That's what I say. If I can paint with a trembling hand, you can paint, you know. And that's why I just use the other hand just to stabilize it. Or I'll use a rod coming over the other side that you've seen me use. And just pop in a couple of little blacks just to tidy that hair up a little bit, make it a little bit real. And there is the hair, not looking the best at the moment. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's got nothing on it. It's got nothing for your eyes to contrast again. So please give yourself permission to move on. You know you've put the colors and the values in the right spot. Now go. Now, here we go. Now it's got a shadow on this side of the face. Now this is something that I do all the time. Look how dark this shadow is. Now this shadow is actually too dark, deliberately too dark. I will err on the caution side. It's better to make the shadow darker than lighter. So if you're a little bit unsure, and remember I'm just feeling my way through this picture. I know there's a shadow here, and just from experience I kind of got an idea where it should be. But in here I'm still going. I'm going to make it a little bit darker than what I think it should be. Now at the moment it's very hard to tell, but as I come alongside it now, you'll be going. Now there's my push-pull technique that I like to use all the time. I'm going to smudge those colours. I'm going to use the actual bristles of the brush to splay out, push one into it. Now look how dark that is. Already, you know, to my eyes, and I'm sure someone looking there is going to go, well, that's very dark, isn't it? There's that roll that you can see on the brush actually showing up this time. Bit of a flick in there. So yeah, darker, better than lighter. And you're going to see I'm going to do the same with the creases in his forehead. There's that. You can see that brush rolling. That's me just trying to get the abstraction into that brush. And into those, and when you actually see the painting textured up, you can really see that it's got a lot of movement. You know, by rolling that paint around, I'm getting darks and lights and a whole mixture going on in there. And that push is just splay those bristles, and it'll push the darker color into a lighter color and pull vice versa as you lift off. Now, I know which way the head goes, so that's why I'm just sweeping it in there. Just with the brush, nice and easy. Now I'm going to come alongside with a lighter color, lighter value here, and already you can really see now that, oh, look at that dark. That looks like a black stripe down his head, basically. Oh dear, people panic. Do not panic. I'm going great. That's what I wanted. Now I'm going to paint these creases. Now, these are nowhere near finished. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, what I call, block them in. So if we're doing it in 3 stages, you see people paint, they block it in, then they'll do some modeling, then they'll do the finer detail at the end. The wet and wet is exactly the same. Let's just block these in so I've got some strong lines. Again, way too dark. Now, this is something not to be afraid of, not to put it in and then start panicking and thinking, I'm going to do this deliberately. I don't normally do it to this extreme, but I thought for this demo, I just want to prove a point. Because I do have some people saying, you paint darker than what you should. Oh, I don't know about that, Michael. If you're a professional, you should get it right the first time. Righty. Yeah, right, whatever. It's just not happening, folks. Getting it right the first time is just not going to happen. A portrait is a journey. It's an experiment. It's a push and a pull and put different environments and step back from it and look at it. And I'm not painting a photograph, and I think this is one of the things when you work from photographs. So I've got several photographs of this gentleman, but if you work from photographs, you're going to, in my humble opinion, I'll get some pushback on this, but I think you're going to miss some of the character. So when I do portrait painting, I like to spend time with a person, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, have a cup of tea, talk. And I know they're thinking, oh, he's checking out my hair, he's checking out my ears, he's looking at my skin. I'm not doing any of that. Absolutely not. What I am actually doing when I'm doing portraits for people, and even when I find someone out and about and I look at them, I'm looking for the character. So by talking to someone for 20, 30 minutes, in that conversation, initially they'll be all, it's like when you first meet someone prim and proper and you try and put on your best face. But somewhere in that conversation, they're going to forget that I'm actually talking to them as a portrait artist. I'm not looking at them as a model. And they'll start reviewing things. I ask them about their family, where they came from, how did they start their job, what was it like what did they buy with their first paycheck, It's funny, I ask that question to people quite often, what did you buy with your first paycheck? And the mannerism changes because now they've got to think back, but that allows me to see the person. So those types of questions, the easy ones, is your brothers, your family, tell me about your job. You'll get some conversation, but little things, little tweaks, that's probably one of my favorites, what'd you buy with your first paycheck? You'll see the whole mannerisms change. They suddenly forget that they're being almost interviewed, which is really what it is, an interview for the portrait. I want to see them. I want to see their character. I want to paint the person. I'm not really interested in painting a picture. Now, all I've done here is I'm just using my palette, all those shades, and I'm just coming in different lights and the darks. Now, I'm deliberately staying away from those dark crease lines at the moment, and that is on purpose. And you see now when I said they're way too dark. No, they're way too dark. I wouldn't normally do that, but it will just prove a point, I do get some pushback sometimes, and I maybe it's male. We're just stubborn and go, I'll prove it to you. Maybe you're the same. People give you a bit of a pushback on something, and really, right? I'll prove it to you. I'll prove I'm right. And this is why I say anyone can paint. I have people, they'll do something like this and go, oh, my painting's ruined, and I'm going, great. Look at this. Look at the opportunity you've given yourself by painting too dark. You have just opened up a world of opportunities for this thing. Now I get excited. They're probably going, oh, it's too dark. Look at that black mark on the left-hand side. As we're looking at it, the left-hand side and near the picture frame side, that black mark, oh, Michael, and look at this dark line there, and it's not working. And notice I'm not touching the darks yet. This is another thing. I mean, you and me can see that, right? And I'm not touching them. I'm deliberately not going to touch those darks because I know what I want to do to them. I'll tell you, what I'm going to do at the end of this painting is I'm going to get the different value shifts in the lighter tones, and I'm just going to get my see that dabbing motion I'm doing down the left hand side? That's basically what I'm going to do across those crease lines. I'm going to get different tones, so it's not one tone. I'm going to rub some of them out. So you'll see some of them disappear, so it's not a constant line. In a photograph, that might be a constant line, right? But in a painting, my advice is don't make it a constant. Make the line disappear. You're going to see how I'm going to do that. So all I do is I get different values. I start working on those lines with the lighter values. I rub part of the lines out. I chop them up and make them appear, disappear. You know when they talk about broken edges and sharp edges. That's all we're going to do. And I'm not doing it yet. I'm just going to try and thin them down a little bit. Now I'm deciding, do I like the way these are done? Do we need to be a little bit thinner? How's it looking? And I go, great. So don't panic. Paint them too dark. This is way, way too dark. This is probably going to the extreme, which is going to prove a point in a minute, says Michael with confidence. I'll just grab a drink. That's just lighter shades. Remember the variant in the darks and the lights. Textural, push, pull, move that paint, lumps of paint, thinner paint. It's going to look great. And I'm really just trying to form him. We're not really going to see the character of this gentleman until those eyes go in. I did the sketch for the eyes, so I got a bit of an idea what I'm looking at. But yeah, really, once I get there, you'll see I push, pull, move stuff around. Now I'm just trying to thin those lines out because I know what I want to do with them. I need to lighten them. But first of all, let's make them a little bit thinner, and that'll make my job just a little bit easier. So I always say to people, if you're not very good with brush handling, and your lines turn out too thick, you can just thin them out by pushing the paint back into them. That's why in still life, I love still lifes that involve twigs and leaves and things, especially twigs, because twigs are like these crease lines in someone's hair. I can get someone to paint twigs and they go, oh my goodness, they're too thick. It's okay. Remember, with a twig, don't thin it down too thick. It doesn't go like a pointy shaft. Don't thin it down too quick. It's amazing. But once you've got them in there, you can reshape them by this pushing technique. So by learning that pushing technique in still lifes, you can then go, oh, I can do that with creases on someone's forehead. Now again, we'll make this crease line in here. Let's start off too dark again, just to prove our point because we're stubborn. But I'm going to make sure I get it right. I've got several photographs to my left, and I'm just having a look at how his creases are on his top of his nose. That bridge of the nose there at the top. So I'll just do that. I will make the top just a little bit lighter because I know it is going to be. Draw it in. Yep, it's too dark. Wonderful. Darker, the better. I'll tell you, this is something that will transform your painting. It will free you up for transformations that will amaze you. You're just going to paint and go, and someone's going to go, oh, your creases on that forehead, they're so good. And you're going to be thinking like, I'm glad you didn't see it when I was painting it. And there's probably artists that won't show you this. I don't know. I'm not really into hiding stuff. It's like, and look, they are way, way over the top, but that's fine. I'm just going to prove a point. This painting is going to look good. So yeah, some people may not show you, but I'm going to show you all warts and all. And I think by showing you how forgiving oil painting is and how easy it is to do, hopefully it gives you the confidence to have a go at some of this. Or next time when you're an art lover and you're looking at someone's painting, you can look at it and start to understand what these art critics and people are actually looking at. They're looking at this movement in the paint and they're talking about brushwork. They can pick up what you've actually done. It's amazing. I had a critique done by an art critic, and it's amazing. Yeah, I was surprised. Like, oh, I can see how you did that. I love how you did this. I love how you painted it too dark. Then you've come back over and done. It's like, wow, you can see that, and they can. And I guess as we get better at our art and we start, painting more, we start to look at other people's art and can appreciate how they achieved an effect that they did achieve. Now we're going to come around the bridge of his nose deliberately. What are we doing? Too dark. Way, way too dark, but that's okay. So we'll go too dark, and it's not going to look good because it's just going to be a block of colour. Now, this is another thing that you're going to find. If you just put a block of colour in, I don't even care if you get it the right value. It's still not going to look good. You've got to get some variations in there. But we're not going to worry about that at the moment. We're just going to block it in. I'm going to bring that arch around the glasses rim there. And there's a bridge, with the glasses going across the nose there. So that's what I'm just concentrating on at this point. But yeah, again, too dark. And I'm doing this deliberately. I want to give you the confidence to paint a little bit darker and then lighten it up. And this will allow us to get our textures in here as well, especially in shadows. You can start popping some lights in here. And I really apologize, my camera went off. Actually, not the camera. A bad tradesman blames his tools. Michael didn't check. He just turned the camera on, and I've got it on fixed focus so it doesn't change, but I must have obviously hit the focus ring when I turn the camera back on. It comes back clear in a moment, so sorry about this. But you can see what I'm doing. I'm just dabbing away, and I'm really just trying to put some lights over that eye. It's actually got a bit of a scar over this eye, and it's put this highlight there. It looks a bit odd. It'll work once we get this thing finished. Let me just grab another drink. I keep my water intake up because it's actually thirsty work painting, and definitely thirsty work talking. Here we go. And now I'm looking and going, okay, let's start the glasses. Let's move on. Now, you see those creases that we just put in? I know it's a bit blurry, but you see, this is what, if you blur your eyes, so this is actually quite good. If we blur our eyes, we can actually see what's too light and what's too dark. Now, the camera's blurred, so that's great. You can see that, there's that black mark up there on the forehead, on his right-hand side as we look at our left. Too dark. Oh, that rim he's putting around that eye. Oh, geez, that's too dark now. Oh, look at those creases coming up the centre of the nose there. They're jumping off the canvas. This is why a lot of artists squint. Because this is squinting gives you this view where you can see how easy it is to see what's right and what's wrong with this painting. I can really see it. So great bit of technique there for squint. So that really does prove a point. Come on, get back clear. We'll just paint these glasses in now. Let's see what we're going to do around here. And there we are, we're back. Okay, so now I've just mapped the tops of them in. I want to get his eyebrows in. So now I will start darker than is necessary. And see, I'm just putting squiggly lines in. He's actually got quite, those, older guys have got those really bushy eyebrows. My wife won't let me have bushy eyebrows at all. She hates them. They got to be cut off and plucked out and all. But yeah, but all the guys have these bushy eyebrows, and they really are to his character. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to lay some nice darks in there to give us an undertone to these things. We'll fill them in with a bit of slightly. We'll come up maybe 1 or 2 values, like just with the brush, just brushing line. Remember, I'm not brushing hairs in now. So this really starts to form a bit of a character on this forehead. I'd see how it doesn't work until it's finished. So this is why you can't correct things as you go. I'm actually going to fix this forehead up before we go, because I did this just so you could actually see what I'm actually doing. I just want to show you that, hey, you paint something like this and go, okay, that's not what I want. Can I fix it? The answer is definitely yes. Let's have a drink. So with these eyebrows, I'm just getting some base colors. Now I've got a really old, I think it's a rosemary and curl brush actually, and it's just all splayed. Your brushes get all splayed, and I'm going to actually get that in on these eyebrows in it once I've got this foundation of them done. Again, I actually don't want to paint, here it is, I don't want to paint hairs, but I do want to just put these in, and it will just give me those little scraggly marks. It's a real scraggly brush. So the secret of this is to make sure you keep it loaded, because otherwise it will start smudging and won't give you the clear colour. And then I've just lightened it up again, and we'll just put a few more little dabs in there. And I think I go to another value. And you see I'm just trying to get the shape, that wildness in them. I don't need to paint hair as such. I just need to get that little bit of a wildness in there. And because we've got those darks underneath, I can layer. And some people say, oh, you can't layer in Alla Prima in wet. Yes, you can. You can do it very, very easily. Just use the right brushes. And this one's real scraggly, so it's not filling anything up. So there we go. That is looking quite good. Now we're going to start with the glasses. Again, I'm not fixing the forehead yet. Normally I don't fix anything until I've actually finished the painting, but I'm going to fix this just to prove a point on this one. And now we're going to do the glasses. Now, glasses are interesting. They're going to have a black on the inner and the outer rim, as fine as anything. Again, you don't have to be super accurate, because you're going to use that push-pull method of using, once I start painting the inside of the eye, I'll be able to straighten the inside up. And if there's anything wonky on the outside, once I start painting the face on the outside, I will be able to just manipulate that outside line of his glasses and get it nice and round if I'm not happy with it. And look, you don't have to be perfect. It's not a photograph. And people's own eyes will fix what you haven't fixed. One thing I will say, when you come around glasses, don't just paint one solid colour around the inside. I'm painting the inside rim now, because the values shift, okay? So even coming around glasses, you're going to be able to see this as we develop these glass rims here, that values will shift, and it's not just a solid colour running around the rim. So don't go, oh, they're gold, so I'll just paint a gold rim. It's going to look silly. So you need the more brown in your golds, then you need more whites in your golds, and really bring them up. And that's just my way of joining there. You can just see I don't paint a continuous line. I'm not really stressing too much. And here we go. We'll go paint the other one now. And these are getting fairly well advanced. They don't look the best at the moment. This one needs to be straightened out a little bit later. But once again, if you're not happy, you just push it around. You see as we're looking at the right-hand side, one looks a bit flat on top, but I can just push that around with the brush. So as I paint the inside, I might even do that before I paint the inside of the eye. I can't remember if I did that or not. I think I do. But you just push it. That's the beauty about wet in wet. You can get the basic shape down, sit back, have a look, and say, oh, I'm not very happy with that. Now at this stage, the glasses are by themselves. It's probably why it stands out so much. Once the eyes are in, and once the cheeks are in, and the nose is in, and the beard's in, and the mustache and the mouth, honestly, these little things just make it look painterly, and people won't care. I was looking, I did say I'd try and find a picture of it for you, but it's the billiard tables, and the balls aren't even round, they're just smudges. The billiard table, there's absolutely no detail in it whatsoever, and it just works. I will dig that out, and I will dig it out. I must do that for you and just show you, just to make the point that the people don't care. It doesn't matter. If you got your values right, it will work. Now, we know the values are wrong in the top of that forehead. We know the values are right in the crease marks there. And we know the values, they're wrong. They're wrong in the forehead, they're wrong in the creases, and they're wrong in the creases where the nose is. We know those values. When it was blurry, we could see that really, really easily. And look, we don't even have to be expert art people to see that. So quite naturally, we can go, oh, if we lighten those areas, we'll solve that value problem. And that's what oil painting is. It's just solving value problems, not really colour. That's why people you hear me say all the time, people can paint this in any colour they want. If they get the values right, it will work. So here we are, we're just painting, I think that's my computer, I keep pinging away in the background, sorry guys. So again, we're going to paint the inside rim of the glasses. There's my little rod just for holding my hand up. And it's quite handy. I've just got it wedged against the wall. That, if you're wondering where it's actually going, it's not got a hook or anything. I actually slide it underneath those rails and then do do this, and then you'll see I will change the values as I come around, which is really important. You just got to change the values, and there you can see, and it stands out more once you've got the inside rim on, but you can see a bit of light coming in here. So don't just go around in one block color. It won't work, and you can see that as it goes around the outside of the glasses and, you know, down the side of the nose, it's just one block color. That's why it's not working, because it's just one block, and that just will not do. So we got to change the values. Now here we go, doing the inside rim. Now, this is going to be interesting. We talk about found and lost edges, and you can imagine the inside of glasses, you can't see them that clearly. So you don't have to have a continuous line. This black line coming up the inside, because it's on the inside, and I don't want it to just look like, you know, solid rim. So I actually have a broken line. You see, it doesn't quite join. And it's not just black. I've used blacks, I've used brown. Well, they're actually dark brown. I've actually used black and brown together. And then I've just shifted and not joined, and it is that once the eye goes in is going to make it look more natural. So don't, you know, you're not an architectural draftsman, you're not getting a coin on there and drawing a solid circle. That won't work. It won't look right. So right in here you can then, with that, just see where those broken lines are. That's going to be fine. Once those eyes go in, it'll just light the whole thing up. And again, all I'm doing is using that, and that's a number 5, by the way. Just using that to put in the values where I want them around the inside. We're getting towards the end of this, and there you go. Now look at now. You can. That's what I did. I just dabbed those creases down. I dabbed the darks down at the top. Bit of smudging in there. And that's what I mean. How easy is that to fix?
Well, there we go. We've done another part of the journey of this portrait. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a really pleasure having your company. Please, before you go, hit that subscribe, the like, and all that stuff. You can see the portrait sitting behind me now. And all I did with those darks, I was saying, I just got the brush, put some lighter tones on there, and just dabbed all the lines, made sure the crease lines disappeared or where I wanted them to, just to tone them down. That dark edge on his right hand side of the face, our left hand side, if you're looking at it, I just put some lighter colors in there and lighten that dark up. We got that really black mark out of there, and 72 creases inside his nose. We'll work on the other darks a little bit later. I just wanted to prove to you that if you paint it darker than what it actually needs to be, how easy it is to fix it, and it'll actually add some dimension to your painting as well, because as you start adding more layers and more textures over it, your painting starts to come more to life, and people are just going, wow, how did he do that? Well, you did it by fixing a mistake. That's as honest as it gets. It doesn't transform your portrait painting. Hope you're enjoying this. Next time we'll come back, we'll paint, come on Michael, we'll paint his cheeks, we'll paint the eyes. Oh, the eyes are what it's all about. The real character of the person comes alive when we do that. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, give me some comments, and I'll see you on the next one.